Hey, today we're going to be talking about the biggest holiday we've ever booked. Total around 18 grand for me and my family. Some of you think that this is absolutely crazy. And if you've watched any of the previous videos, you're probably wondering what the hell he's spending that kind of money when he's talking about investing for retirement at 60. But also, if you've been watching this channel, you'll be noticing the end screen with our little breakdown. Basically, yes, this channel is about my investment plan for the future, but it's also about the balance of life and experiences in between. So, yeah, this holiday isn't just a holiday, it's something much bigger. And we'll get into all of that in this video. So, let's get it. Get into why we're doing this first. The reason we're doing it mainly is because we got married quite young. I think we were 19, 20. Couldn't afford a big, massive wedding. Not that we'd want that. But it was a lovely wedding. But maybe not what we would have had we been prepared for it. Plus, we were quite young, so a lot of people's perception was like, "Oh, not going to last." But nevertheless, it was a great wedding. We have obviously great memories, pictures from it. But through our relationship, we've grown so much. I've always loved Lisa, but especially through the last few years, the love I have for her has like totally changed. It's grown so much and evolved, as it has done over the 20-year period. My wife always talked about having a vow renewal. I think in the last couple of years, I've got to the point where really, I really want to do that. Something I feel quite strongly about because through everything, having kids young, life, work, bills, providing all of that, everything kind of takes over. But I think we've finally got to a point where we're able to slightly more enjoy our lives. It's become slightly more comfortable. I've always loved Lisa, but maybe I've shown it a way of providing rather than through certain other aspects of relationships. Um, she's always loved the hell out of me, to put it simply. And yeah, I think I've come to the realization that although I was love her in the way that I could or knew how to, um, it's evolved past that, just providing and obviously love, to the point where I really love that girl. Like, she's amazing. She's always there. Time becomes a chance to celebrate that, basically. So yes, it's a crazy expensive holiday, but we're having a vow renewal in that time as well. All right, so why Thailand? I've always wanted to go to Thailand. My brother, a while back, got married in Malaysia, and ever since I've been there, I've always wanted to go back to Asia. It's the kind of place you go to, especially the islands, and you think, bloody hell, it's a tropical paradise. Something you see in the movies or the videos, but you don't realize that they're actually real places until you go there yourself. I went on my own. Unfortunately, Lisa couldn't go at the time. But again, I just always wanted to go back to some places in Asia, and obviously I've looked into different places in Thailand over the years, and it's just always been somewhere I want to go. It's just a beautiful place. There's a lot of experiences and that to be had there. Obviously, pairing that with value for money once you're there helps. Like the food, I love the food. Lisa's pretty good with food these days. She wasn't always, but I think she'll love the food also. Again, with the prices of food, can be generally quite cheap depending on where you're going. It's generally quite family friendly. and there's a hell of a lot of adventure to be had, which we've planned quite a jam-packed itinerary in it. So yeah, just a lot of memories to be made. Okay, so the itinerary. So we're staying for a total of about 3 weeks. Next Easter holiday, so March, April. Plan is to fly direct from London to Bangkok. Um, we're gonna go to Bangkok and stay there for, I think it's a few days total, 2 or 3 days total. While we're there, we've got a number of things we want to do. So one of the most dense areas that do Michelin rated street foods. Want to do that because, again, as you know, I love our food, so why not? We want to go to some of the temples, see some of the Buddhist culture and all of that. We want to do the skywalk to see a nice view of the city, hopefully in the evening at night, so we can see the sunset. Um, Possibly do a river cruise. Did think about doing a meal on the river one of the river cruises, but we definitely would do one of the riverboat tours or something anyway. Um, a little bit of shopping. Some of the big markets we'll go to see, and just generally ease ourselves into Thai culture and the food. After we've done Bangkok, we're flying out of Bangkok into Surat Thani, and then we're going to get a transfer from there to our second hotel. So our second hotel is in Khao Sok. Um, the reason we're doing Khao Sok is because we looked into Khao Sok and it looks amazing. We get that inland nature. It's one of the oldest rainforests. And there's a national park there with a big lake, man-made lake, that basically has the nice limestone cliffs coming out of it. It's got some caves you can go in. You can swim in the water. So the plan is to when we get there, we'll settle in, wake up in the morning, and we'll do that as a private boat tour, because there's 6 of us in my family, and a friend and his 2 kids are coming along as well. It'll be just as cheap to get a private boat rather than a boat with everybody else. We might potentially have other people come along to that part as well, because we actually have a group of about 19 people coming, but some of the people coming aren't going to the whole lot. So yeah, we're going to do that first day, do the private boat tour around the national park. While we're on the lake as well, we get to eat at the floating riverside cottages. So just generally a nice relaxed day out with a lot of adventure. In the evening, we'll go back, relax, take a breath, catch up, and then once we wake up in the morning, we're off to do a couple of other things. So more than likely, we'll do bamboo river rafting, and then we also like the idea of having a little jungle walk as well. Whether that will be on that day or whether we'll get that included as part of the private boat tour on the lake the day before, it'd be nice to kind of fit that into there. And then after the 3 nights there, we'll be carrying on to our next destination. So from there, we'll get a taxi over to Krabi. In Krabi, we've rented out a bunch of. They're kind of like it's kind of like a villa resort. It's not like a typical hotel, but basically, some of our party have got accommodation that surround a main shared pool. It literally fronts straight onto the pool either side. Because we're one of the bigger families, there's 2 bigger families that are coming along. We've rented out the one that's like a private villa with its own pool, basically a whole self-sustained house. Um, so we've got one of those, and we've also got somebody else that's got a similar one in our party. So we're there for about, I want to say 7, 8 days. We'll arrive in Ao Nang, get settled into our place. We'll probably jump in the pool, cool off, obviously. Maybe do a little bit of exploring the local area, but nothing too crazy because obviously previous days we've done a lot of traveling. So we kind of ease ourselves into Ao Nang. The next day we'll do the tiger temples. So there's I forget how many step walk, but it's so many step walk up to the top of this mountain, and they've got a temple up there. It's obviously amazing view off across Krabi. So that's that, and then after that, walk down, and then not too far from there, there's the Emerald Pool. So they've basically got an emerald pool and a blue pool, and it's a thermal pool, so it's heated. Not that that's the kind of thing you want in a hot country, but one of them you can get in, one of them you can't because it's protected, obviously because of its. So one of them you can get in, one of them you can't. I can't remember which way round it is, but yeah, one of them is protected. So that's kind of a little bit of adventure, a little bit of walking day. Probably start early to keep ourselves from overheating walking up that massive hill. Um, then the day after, we're doing the Hong Island tours. So again, actually, all of the boat tours we're going on, we're going to do private again because of what I just explained earlier. It just financially makes more sense because we've got a big group. Generally, it's going to work out cheaper for our private boat tours. So yeah, we'll go around to all the Hong Islands. I think you get some swimming in there, maybe some scuba diving, seeing some of the fish and all that. So that's quite a long day out. So when we get back, he'll probably be more wind down, go out for some evening food and such. I'm not going to give a day by day, but everything else that we want to fit into that, we're going to have some massages, obviously eat food. We want to go to Railay Beach for a day, or at least a few hours. We'd like to go more inland to Krabi Town, I think it's called. Again, they've got some markets and that there we want to check out. Um, we want to go see some Muay Thai boxing because if you go to Thailand, you got to do it, surely. And then we're going to have our vow renewal in Krabi. So we looked at loads of options, and actually, it's really difficult to get hold of a lot of the people that organise the vow renewals. They're either really inconsistent with getting back to you, or just don't get back to you at all. We did eventually find somebody, but it is very tricky because you're basically trusting someone that you're going to send money to that they're actually going to provide the service that you want. After a lot of looking around, we did try a lot of hotels in different places. One of them was actually one of them that we really did like the idea of doing is Rayavadi, which is on Railay Island. It did look amazing. They've got this thing called the Grotto, and you can get married in there. But really, the price of it wasn't too bad. The problem was that you had to stay at Rayavadi for like 10 consecutive days or something like that. I think they did change that, but basically the price for that location was about £600 a night for two of you. And obviously, yeah, that just doesn't really fit in if you consider that price of staying there for 10 consecutive days and then the cost of the vow renewal. It was just going to be too much. It does look beautiful though, not necessarily because of the hotel, although it looks nice. It's more the setting. The island itself just looks beautiful, which is why we want to go there still. So we found someone, and we had a lot of conversations. We were probably quite annoying at points trying to organise everything. So we've kind of got a day set for that. So we'll be waking up. We'll have a morning ceremony in a Thai temple with a traditional Thai blessing, which looks amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. In between, I think we have a bit of a relaxing time, lunch, so on, before we finally move over to the evening where we celebrate another ceremony. So, just to be greedy, we're having the traditional Thai ceremony, and then another ceremony later on. So, we did have lots of options. Could have had the beach ceremony. Um, we did talk about having it on a boat off of Rayleigh because we really like Rayleigh Island, but only certain people can do ceremonies there because they need certain licenses. But we finally came to the our solution, or that we got with our vow renewal, with our ceremonist vow renewal organizer. We managed to find a restaurant that looks quite nice. It's quite green. It's quite foresty. It's a really beautiful place. And it closed at 4:30. We approached our organizer and said, "Look, we quite like this." And on the off chance he actually knew the person that ran it, and he said, "Yeah, that's fine. Let me see if I can sort this out." So what we managed to do is actually private hire this whole place. They agreed we could do the ceremony there and everything, and it was actually really cheap. So the place closes at 4:30, so I think we get it for a few hours, basically an hour, so that for them to set up, and then we have it for the 2 hours or so. And I think it was something like £60 to hire it out privately, which, yeah, I think is crazy because in the UK, if you hired out a restaurant, there's no way it would be miles off of that kind of price. Then we'll get taken there, vow renewal, sit down meal, and so on. And we might possibly even go to one of the elephant sanctuaries beforehand to have some pictures with the elephants in our vow renewal wedding outfits, just to add some extra pictures. We've got a photographer for the day as well. So I think that's about it. After that, we're going to go off for a mini one night honeymoon. Lucky enough to have my family there that have agreed to watch my 4 kids for the day night. And we thought about staying in Rayavadi. Um, we do really like it, but we thought, well, we're gonna. This is one time that we're gonna re get married. We're gonna have our vow renewal. So we decided, look, let's see what else there is, and we came across this Ritz Carlton hotel. We watched a couple of videos on it, and it does look amazing. It's a butler experience place, so quite a high end place. It is a lot more money from compared to Rayavadi, um, but you only live once. It's probably a one-time thing that we'll do in our lifetime. Um, so yeah, I think it just adds to that special feeling that you'll get from it, and the memories and so on. So yeah, that's our vow renewal. Going on from there. So once we've stayed there for, I think it's 7, 8 nights, we'll be going on to PP Island. Every time I read it, I say Fifi because PP Island just sounds weird. The idea with PP is that I've always wanted to do Mayor Bay. I loved the movie The Beach when I was a kid. I watched it multiple times. Always wanted to go there. So basically, we could have done that from Krabi, but the problem is it's like a two odd hour boat ride to Mayor Bay. Whereas because we're choosing to stay at PP in PP Island, which I think we're doing 2 nights there, it means that we could book an early boat tour, like probably like 6 a.m. or something to leave, and we can get to Mayor Bay before all the mad rush of people get there. Yeah, so I just love the idea of getting there early before anyone's there, and having some memories and photos and videos of us being the only ones on the island, sat back, laying in the sand like Leonardo DiCaprio did in the beach. Um, in with that day, we'll go on to a couple of other places I think that are included in the boat tour. I know there was a couple of other things that are actually just as good as Mayor Bay, and we'll be doing that too. Then we'll go back for the night, stay in the hotel. And the day after that is when we'll then move on to one of our last places we're going to. And it logistically works quite well because Phi Island is actually slightly closer to where we're going, which is the last place is Koh Lanta. The reason we're going Koh Lanta is because it's a bit more of a chill vibe, less people around, relatively small island. Um, so yeah, that would be more of a chill, wind down, chill time after quite a jam-packed itinerary beforehand. I think we're staying there for 6 or 7 nights. We booked this place called the Lazy Lodge, I think it is. We just really like the look of it, the vibe of the place. It's kind of places that looked like they had like thatch style roofs. So it just felt quite authentic, and yeah, we just love the vibe. We got a few places there for our six. Two of them are garden side, and the one we got for me and my wife is the beachside one. So that'll be like just a nice view and lovely setting for the 6, 7 days that we're there. While we're in Koh Lanta, we were gonna potentially get a bike and do a little island tour. We have to figure out logistically if that'll work. I love the idea of being able to go out on a bike in Thailand. Feel like it's part of what I'd like, what you should potentially have the experience of. Yes, I do have a full bike license, so I can ride. There's not going to be any catastrophes, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully do some of the tour of the island. There's, I think, a national park there. Obviously some night markets and some food markets. Plenty of beaches to go see. Restaurants, food, etc. We want another day out where we go to at the Emerald Cave. So again, a private boat tour. It's so if I describe the Emerald Cave, it's basically I want to say it's an island that just looks like a cliff face, just a cliff mountain all around in the sea. And there's this one point that you can get off the boat, dive and swim through about, I don't know, I want to say 20 odd meters of dark cave. And then when you get to the end, it just opens up to this really green, foresty beach. It just looks amazing. So we're going to do that. I think it goes on somewhere else after that as well. And then another day, there's another private boat tour. So we're going to do Koh Rock snorkeling. It's supposed to be some of the best snorkeling and aqua life you can see in Thailand. So again, we're going to do that. I think you get some of that from the Hong Islands as well, but that one's supposed to be a pretty good one to go on as well. We're going to have obviously a few more down days, relaxing, just slow island days and such, massages. Want to make sure we get plenty of those in before we finally fly back to Bangkok. So our last day or two, depending on flight prices and stuff, we're spending in Bangkok. So the hope is that we'll do a bit of shopping in Bangkok when we get there, and do a bit more when we get back, because I've got a few things that I want to take. We're going to try and find a hotel where we can leave the bags there from when we get there, the initial 3 nights in the storage, because apparently some hotels, they'll allow you to leave the bags there for free if you're coming back there. So yeah, we'll hopefully do some shopping before when we get to Bangkok the first time, and then when we go back, it'll be a bit more shopping basically, because we're planning on packing light. We're traveling to or doing 6 or 7 places. We don't want hold baggage. We just want cabin bags basically. Each of us will have 2 bags that we can kind of hold, backpack and a hand hold bag, because obviously, yeah, it'd be too stressful. You got to think, it's me, my wife, and my 4 children. Two of them are relatively older, two of them are 11, 14. So it'll just take the stress out of it. But from the flights I've looked at, I think you actually get like two checked baggages for free. It does depend on the airline. So we've got a big potential of bringing stuff back. So things like, I don't know, 7-Eleven snacks that you find that you won't be able to get back home or pay a premium for, could fill a suitcase for that. I love cooking, so I definitely want to get a wok over there. Um, Maybe some clothes and bits and pieces, and definitely some stuff that we can bring back to hang on the walls and remember it from, because it's all about the memories. So yeah, then we'll spend our last night in Bangkok, fly back to the UK. So yeah, the reason we're doing each stop, like me and Lisa love cities. So Bangkok's going to bring that busyness, that bit of vibe, very much diverse culture. So we'll get to see that, shopping, etc. Khao Sok, because it's that inland rainforest feel, like it'll be a real experience. It adds something totally different to compared to the islands. Krabi, because it's a generally good central base. Um, Obviously, all the island tour and boat tours we're doing, because they just add depth and experience across different excursions that we'll be doing. All the markets and such, the food. Um, then PP, because it's again it's slightly different little island, so it gives that experience. Koh Lanta, because it's more relaxed, slightly quieter compared to the rest of the places we're going. So everywhere adds something different, like a different layer to our experience and our holiday. A big part of why we're doing this holiday is the vow. Um, I think we've gone through a lot together, obviously, as you would do in such a massive amount of time. Um, but I think it just made us realize just how much like we mean to each other, especially on my side, how much my wife means to me. Not that I didn't see that, but I think it just evolved massively over the last few years. And yeah, the renewal was just our way of being able to celebrate it all. Right, so now we're going to talk about costs. Because if you've been watching on my other channels, you understand that I am that financial guy that likes to break down everything and work everything out. So yeah, I like to fully plan everything down to how much food we spend a day. Although I've kind of slightly went off of track with the pricing on the food, because I feel like that's the easiest one that could slip depending on where you eat and how much you eat and so on. Let's break down the cost then. So we'll start with the flights. So basically, our non-negotiable was direct flights only. We don't want to deal with the stress of the stop. I know you can save a lot of money doing it that way, but it's just one of our non-negotiables. So we're choosing to fly direct. No stop returns. There's 6 of us in the family that we have to pay for. So direct flight return, we're estimating around 5.5 grand. So that should include everything. Hopefully, seats and our baggage should be included. It does depend on which carrier we use. I have seen it go cheaper, because I watched prices the previous years, and I did see prices from as low as about 3.7. But again, I don't know what airline it was. It might not have included seat reservations, baggage, and all sorts. So it might have been much higher than that. But from my own research, 5.5 grand should be relatively cheap, achievable. We're hoping we'll get it for slightly less, like in the 4 would be amazing. But we've kind of drawn the line and said we're happy at 5.5. But in reality, if everything goes tits up because of orange face dude, then yeah, it could end up worse. But we're going no matter what. So yeah, 5.5 grand is for the flights. Accommodation. All right, so currently we've booked 4. We haven't booked the Bangkok either side, because depending on which flights we book, because there's obviously a bit of buffer, we might have to change it. So that's why we've left Bangkok accommodation of the 3 or 4 nights that we might need. We also haven't booked our honeymoon place. We're just waiting on that one because it's quite an exclusive high end place. We don't think it's getting booked up too quick, and we're hoping there'll be some price change. So they're the two places we haven't booked. The rest of it we've booked. So yeah, Calsock we're staying for 3 nights. Actually, Calsock was really reasonable. There are really high price places right on in the national park on the lake, but we didn't really see the benefit to staying there. To be honest, the place we found is really quite nice. It feels quite authentic, and it's like slightly in the forest. It's just a nice vibe to it. Um, we've priced in that it's about 336 for the 6 of us, which I think is absolutely crazy for the price. Next accommodation in Krabi for what have we got? It's 25th, so 7. I think it's about 7 nights. That place with a resort villa with our own private pool. Again, that was really reasonable. That came in for the 6 of us in there will be just over 1100, 1100 for that. I think that's an amazing price considering a place like that in Spain would be 3-4 grand in a peak season because this is Easter holidays. It's going to be higher priced. On from there, we've booked a place in on PP, so we're staying there for 2 nights. We just decided to book a decent-ish, but nothing crazy hotel. We're only there to be able to explore the island and do the Maya Bay tour. So we didn't see the point in splashing out on somewhere for a couple of nights. That came in at like 300 quid for those couple of nights for the 6 of us. So again, not too bad to be honest. I think we got 2 rooms for that one. On from there is Koh Lanta. So we've booked that for 7 days, and this place is actually slightly more pricey. That comes in at 2,500 quid. There was places that are cheaper. Again, yes, we do watch our money, but we're there for the memories, the experiences. So it's more expensive, but it's not totally out there considering we've got 3 uh, not villas, but rooms basically, but like nice. They're all like separate huts essentially. So considering that, it's not too bad, but it is probably on more of the higher side. I think we've estimated Bangkok will be around four-ish hundred for the first couple of nights, and if it's another night on top of that, it will be another 250 for the return before the return home. Maybe four, 2 to 4, depending on what we do one night or two. The other big one was the Ritz Carlton. So if I just pull it up or go off memory, Ritz Carlton in Krabi. Again, this was the honeymoon place. I think if we do it, I think the cheapest accommodation there was £800 a night, which is mind-blowingly expensive. But if you see the place, you'd kind of understand why. We've never stayed at anywhere like this. It looks amazing. It's going to be a core memory for a long time, forever. So that's the option as a minimum. The one step up from that is substantially nicer. I don't know what the room was called, but it was about £1,300 a night, which again is ridiculous when you think we're staying somewhere for a week for cheaper. But it is about the experience and it is about the memories. So that's kind of the rough pricing that we're looking at for that place. So excursions, I think all in for the excursions, it wasn't even that bad per person, considering we've got like a lot of excursions. If you include all the temples, uh, the Emerald Pool, Hong Islands, Maya Bay tour, um, Koh Rock tour, obviously Coast Khao Sok, the bamboo river rafting. Um, I can't remember exactly what was included, but I think all in for the loads of experiences that we've got, I think it came in at about 300 odd pound per person. Um, which is a lot if you times that by six, which is what we're paying for. But considering how much experiences, activities, memories that are going to be created from that, I think that's incredible value for money. A lot of that comes down to being able to do private boat tours that will work out cheaper than going on a boat with everybody else. It's going to make a massive difference because obviously part of our minimum party size throughout it is my little family of six, little, and my friend and his two kids. So we've got a party of nine as a minimum through all of those experiences and excursions. So again, just saves us a lot. I do have a breakdown of this, so I might put a scrolling thing to scroll through all these numbers in. I did price. You'll probably see the food pricing in here as well. I'm just scrolling through it myself to see what I actually put down. So yeah, you can see the skywalk, all that stuff. Go through this Varel no. Okay, so the Varel no wasn't too bad. The guy actually has to come over from Phuket, so he's actually charging a premium because of that. Obviously, extra travel. I think he obviously then has to stay in a accommodation for the night. So yeah, there's a bit of an extra charge for that. I think total came out to just over £2,000, which is a lot, but I mean, as soon as you say vow Norway, then everyone knows the prices for everything skyrockets. Obviously, there's prices for like excursion, transport transfers and so on that has to be put into that. Um, the price of food, we're kind of on the side of, from a lot of my research, a lot of people say the best places that you eat are the places that the locals go to, the kind of places you probably look at and walk past because it doesn't fit our idea of a nice restaurant. Maybe it doesn't look as branded and so on. So because of that, we're kind of hoping that a lot of our meals will be kind of around the 100 baht per person. Um, so a couple of quid. There are some places that I've seen that you can get a meal for like 50, 60 baht. Obviously, you need to add a drink into that. So the idea is that we'll try and aim for those places like 3 to 4 days a week. Again, markets and such, we'll do food there as well. And then potentially do more of the Western, not Western food, but more Western style restaurants that are a bit clean lined and so on, mixed in, which will obviously be quite a bit more. I think you end up paying something like anywhere from £6 to standard UK prices for a meal, depending on what you're eating. So that's kind of the line we're going along there. Obviously, 7-Eleven probably spend about 15 quid or so a day on drinks and snacks and such for the through the day. Some of the places staying, you get free breakfast, so we'll kind of fuel ourselves up for the day from them. Obviously, in Krabi, we've got our own kitchen and stuff, so we might make ourselves some breakfast and fuel ourselves for the day from stuff like that as well. But yeah, all in, we're estimating around 18, which is a lot of money, but I mean, it's once in a lifetime. 18, if you think about it, 3 weeks in Thailand, for 18 grand for six people isn't that bad, really. Like flights there are crazy. If you break it down on average, including the Valrenu, if you break it down between six people, it's about 3 grand each person. Um, you could pay way more than that just going somewhere in Europe for a week. So I think it's a reasonable value for money for all of the experiences and memories that we'll get from it. So why we're doing it and what I hope and I'm sure we'll get out of it. It's not about being on holiday, having the sun. it's literally about the memories. It's about giving my kids a, a great view on life, an aspect of life that they might not get to experience, or when they experience it, it might be something they want to drive for that creates some drive and purpose in their life. Um, I'm basically hoping that in 20 years' time, my kids will still remember and have all of these like core memories and of all the adventures and excitement and everything that happened. Um, I just felt like that would is the most beautiful thing that I can do in my life. Because if you're watching this channel, you'll be thinking, "Oh, he's supposed to be saving for retirement, but he's blowing all this money." But like I said earlier, you watch the end, and it's I'm doing points based on freedom points, which is living for today basically, and then I've got the side of saving for tomorrow. That balance for me at this point in my life is everything. That's why you're not going to see that financial that finance side build too quickly this year. I'm gonna max out my lifetime ISA still. That's still in the plan, maxing out that for this year. We've been saving for Thailand for some time, so we've got a pool of money ready to go towards that, but we've still got a bit of saving to do. We're hoping to have the rest saved and everything paid for out by January, basically. So when January comes around, end of January, that should all be settled, or should be for December, but we'll say January. There's a bit of a buffer there, and then everything after that will be a bit more relaxed, if anything. Like 18 grand at this time, in the perspective of the channel. That's what I want everyone to understand. This channel is about building for the future, but it's also about living for now. That's why you're going to see quite a diverse amount of a type of video through this channel. On the finance side and the building different income streams, I've got a lot of things I'm getting into. It's just this first part is going to be a bit slow. So with all of this, we weren't going to go on a holiday this year because we were saving. But the last day of school, I was walking my son to school, and I turned around and said, "Oh, are you looking forward to summer holidays?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, we're going to Spain." And I felt so bad saying no. I told him, I was like, "No, we've got to save." And I just felt so bad. I know I shouldn't do, but I just felt so bad. I just feel like I need to always do more for them. And it's like the holidays and the memories, like they're so important. So yeah, I went home to my wife, said, "Look, can we afford it?" And yeah, of course she said yes. So we're actually off to Spain next week. It's actually relatively cheap. We've got somewhere we can stay. All we had to do is pay for the flights. So we're in for about 400 quid. I'm not being funny. We could have stayed somewhere in the UK and it would have cost just as much. So financially, it doesn't make much difference us going to Spain as it does to staying somewhere in the UK. Either way, still would have made great memories. It wouldn't have been any worse to stay in the UK. Either option would have worked really well, but for us, we decided we'd take the option that was available to us. So yeah, we've worked things out. It'll all be fine. That's kind of my mindset at the moment. It'll all be fine. I don't take things. I'm very careful with my money, so when I'm worried, I probably don't need to be worried. So next week, I'm gonna have that week away with the kids. Especially nice because while we're away, that's our 20th year anniversary. So potentially, me and Lisa will get a little night out. So yeah, it really, like Thailand just means so much more than spending an absolute ton of money. It's not just about a holiday. It's about the vow renewal. It's about me and Lisa. It's about my kids. It's giving them adventures and memories that will last forever. um, visions of what life can be, like giving them opportunities to see the world in a different light. And I just feel like that's something beautiful. I just like the idea of 20, 30 years down the line, them still bringing back core memories in their life, going, "Oh yeah, I remember." Something happens, and or they have an experience, and they go, "Yeah, I remember when we did this." And then if they have kids, then carrying that over to their life, hopefully. Um, so it just means everything. That's like family, like giving them the memories and adventures in life. Like it just mean that's how much it means to me. Like I'm really thankful for everybody that's watching this. Um, I just hope that this grows into something that I can look back on and go, yeah, yeah, that just I remember that. That reminded me of all those times. I'm unsure what the next video is going to be. I have a couple of ideas, but hopefully you'll keep an eye out for it. Next Sunday is supposed to be the release of it. Like I say, I'm hoping to religiously keep to this Sunday release, next release. Um, I do have a lot on this weekend. We're doing a renewal party for the close family tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. So I've got a lot of prepping to do, sorting out the garden. I created a load of chairs and everything out of nothing. Um, so yeah, there's a lot to organise, cook and sort out, clean, and then obviously Sunday we're flying out to Spain, so another lot of stuff to sort out before we go. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you again next time.